let us visit the megaboard. We will start with the corner on AuburnSports.com. Justin Hokanson, excellent reporter at AuburnSports.com, posted this earlier in the week, what I'm hearing on Hugh Freeze's job status. And basically, it's a breakdown of where Auburn is right now as Auburn goes into the Arkansas game. Auburn is playing at Arkansas. We picked that game on Monday, Ari, and when we picked it, Auburn was a slight favorite. The line has since flipped. I'm not surprised by this at all. Arkansas is now a 1-point favorite in this game. Bobby Petrino has been close in his first 2 games as the Arkansas interim coach. Auburn keeps finding ways to lose. Ari, if Bobby Petrino breaks through, I'm gonna put you in the shoes of Auburn Athletic Director John Cohen. If Bobby Petrino breaks through and beats Hugh Freeze in this game, what do you do? How do you handle it?
It's a blanket statement, but it's true. Arkansas should not be better than Auburn right now, period.
Right, because Arkansas has already fired their coach. The defense was horrible for a lot of the year. Offense has been good most of the year. But no, this Arkansas team should not be better than this Auburn team under any circumstances.
I struggle a ton with Hugh Freeze because I respect what he took over. I respect the undertaking that it was. We are too far into it now for them to be allergic to winning the way that they are. Like, the thing that is so clear to me is that the roster is better and he has brought in some really exciting players, and that Auburn isn't a punching bag in the SEC that it was maybe 4 years ago. So you get credit for that. But the thing that is the most difficult part now is once you do that, that's only a third of the job. The other 66% of the job is using that talent to win games. And I don't know why they're not winning games. So, you hear a coach saying
he used to be a pretty good game day coach. I don't know what happened. Yeah.
Like, I thought the whole point of Hugh Freeze was he's a great game day coach. He draws up great offense. If you would have told me that at this tenure, or at this point in his tenure, that their problem would be scoring, I would have been like, what? Like, when you think about like the heights of his career, what do you think about? You think about the Ole Miss teams that beat Bama, right?
Yeah. I also think about turning Bo Wallace into a serviceable SEC quarterback, getting the most out of Chad Kelly, getting the most out of Malik Willis at Liberty. I haven't seen any of that at Auburn, and I don't understand why.
So if you make me athletic director, like, I don't know what there is to gain by firing him like on Sunday, opposed to maybe 3 weeks from now. If I don't know. But the one thing I do know is there probably is something to gain by firing him by the end of November, because this is going to be a highly competitive job opening market. And you might want to get a jump on that. So if you come to the decision that he is not your guy, like, I don't know if there's any advantage to waiting at this point, unless the buyout gets incrementally smaller, but not enough. It won't matter on a week-to-week basis where it's going to change or dramatically change your output of financial commitment to him, and his buyout's affordable. So don't you want to get in on the sweepstakes of who the next guy is with all these openings coming up? Is there an advantage to being on the market sooner in that regard?
I don't know if there's any advantage to being on the market sooner. I do know that Auburn's in an interesting situation, because what side of the ball has been consistent at Auburn? The defense. Who runs the defense? DJ Durkin. DJ Durkin's probably your interim coach.
You said before the show a comment about DJ Durkin, and it made me laugh because it's probably going to happen.
DJ Durkin is probably going to win with this team. I'm just telling you that right now. Like, DJ Durkin, the head coach, probably wins with this team.
Andy, I don't know. So where are we at in the DJ Durkin redemption arc? Like, is he somebody that's important?
I think there are some people that'll never let him coach again. I look at this from a very different perspective. So for those who don't remember, when DJ Durkin was at Maryland, one of his players passed away following a workout in the off season, and DJ Durkin was blamed a lot for that. Having been through something similar as an athlete. So for those who don't know, I've told this story before. When I was a high school wrestler, my senior year, one of our teammates collapsed and died at practice. And I remember everything that happened. I was there for all of it. I saw it happen. And it was awful. It was traumatic. But never once did we blame our coach for it. And just having been around that and then having covered it in some situations, because when I was covering Florida, Steve Spurrier's staff had a situation like that with a player who died after an offseason workout. So I just don't pin all that on DJ Durkin. I'm not there. And so I don't think it should preclude him from ever getting a head coaching job again. Now, there were some things about the culture in that Maryland program that you're going to ask him questions about if you're looking at him as your permanent head coach. But I don't know. I don't know that you just automatically ban him from ever being a head coach again.
Well, he lost his job because of it. And I think that part of the reason he lost his job were some of the culture things that you were insinuating. And I think that the thought process was the culture things lent a higher likelihood of something like that happening. But was he ever found culpable in court or anything for that death? And if not, like, I don't know if I think I agree with you on that. But like also too, from a legality standpoint, and you have like, who's liable for things.
Jordan McNair's family did settle a lawsuit with the University of Maryland.
Yeah.
But and his Jordan McNair's father was one of the people who was upset when Durkin got because they were going to reinstate Durkin after everything. So that's
but here's the other thing.
That was the upshot of that.
And like, I didn't mean to bring down the tenor of the show into something.
Yeah, no, but it's interesting, and it's something we probably need to talk about because
talk about it.
If he gets the job, then again, he was a pretty good head coach at Maryland. He's been a very good defensive coordinator at Texas A&M and at Auburn. I suspect if this happens, if Hugh Freeze gets fired and DJ Durkin takes over, I suspect that some of those games that are close might go the other way. Hoodies, polos, Q-zips, and more. I'm wearing my Hezzy hoodie right now. One of my favorite pieces of clothing. Yes, they get stolen a lot of the time in my house, but you should be looking for your own school branded version of the Hezzy hoodie at rhoback.com. That's RHOBACK.com. If Clark Lee wants a Hezzy hoodie, there's a beautiful Vanderbilt one elsewhere in the state. They got a beautiful Power T one. The Nebraska one's awesome. They got these quarter zips that look like the helmet stripes. Like the Ohio State helmet stripe quarter zip is beautiful. There's a beautiful Florida quarter zip helmet stripe. They've got it all. So rhoback.com, RHOBACK.com. Hoodies, polos, Q-zips. The joggers are tremendous. I've been wearing the Rhoback joggers everywhere. The promo code is Andy for 20% off your first order. Rhoback.com, RHOBACK.com. Promo code Andy for 20% off your first order.
And if you are willing to put him in place as the interim coach, that you've already broken the seal on willing to oversee a program. So like that will be an interesting thing to watch. Now, it'll be super interesting to get back to football here for a second, is that like, we know their defense is good. Their defense shows up every week. If they start scoring and they turn it around without Hugh Freeze, then you had a Hugh Freeze problem, and right. I don't know if we're there yet. I don't know if you think
and Hugh Freeze did mention, by the way, after the Missouri game, that he's open to the idea of a different quarterback, which I think would be Ashton Daniels, the Stanford transfer. They have Deuce Knight, the freshman, as well, who was the 5-star, 4-star, high 4-star recruit from Mississippi, who was originally committed to Notre Dame, and they flipped him. But it sounds like Ashton Daniels would be who they'd go to if they made a change.
Yeah, and if we're back in the quarterback roulette game, then their season's tough. I mean, maybe it already is. I don't know. But if you would have told me before the season that we'd have this conversation on October 22nd about should they bench their quarterback, I would know exactly where we were.
It's interesting because we're having this hypothetical interim conversation about DJ Durkin, who's still the defensive coordinator, and Hugh Freeze is still there. Bobby Petrino is the actual interim, and Arkansas has played better under shades Petrino. We're calling him that because he's wearing sunglasses for the entirety of the games now. They have played better. 3-point loss at Tennessee, 3-point loss to Texas A&M. They're still losses, but they have been improved. The defense is not the sieve it was earlier in the season. So if they can beat Auburn, that bolsters Bobby Petrino's case to get this job permanently. And I know he has some support.
Yeah. This would be a pretty big game. I would say that this was probably the biggest game of the Petrino experiment, because you're playing a team that you're Vegas thinks you're supposed to beat, whether it be by 1 or by 5 or by 8.
But that has a more talented roster.
Probably roster too. So I think it's probably a better litmus test of your ability as a coach if you can get your team over the hump when you're supposed to win. Like I always feel like it's unfair, and I think part of the reason why he's in this position, like as you pointed out, is that it's going to be unfair. But it's like if Arkansas,
they put him in the most difficult position possible. Like if you're going to get the job, you're going to have to truly earn it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I'm looking at their schedule now, and it's like the only way that you get the job is if you beat Tennessee on the road, or if you beat Texas A&M on the road. It's like putting me in a race and saying, if you don't win the marathon, you're fired. Like, it's like, I mean, I can't, I think that this game would be a good measuring stick of his ability. So I don't know how.
And if they can win this game, you look at the rest of the schedule. So Mississippi State, at LSU, at Texas, Missouri. If you can win this game, this is a team that just took Missouri to overtime. We've seen Texas. We've seen LSU. Mississippi State still hasn't won an SEC game under Jeff Lebby. If you can win this game, you can win the other ones too.
Yeah, and we said that 500 might give him a real shot to get this thing right. And is he 0-2 now?
He's 0-2 right now. So if you go, you'd have to go.
If he beats Auburn, they should be able to beat Mississippi State.
Yep.
No games again, even no games impossible. And then I think it's possible that they go 1-2 in that final stretch, and they pop up and beat somebody at the end. LSU, Texas, and who's the last one?
Missouri.
Like they could go 1-2, right? Like they could surprise somebody.
I think they could. I like I said, if you can beat Auburn here, I do think all 4 of the remaining games are winnable for you. Yeah, I'm not saying you're going to win them all. I'm just saying they are winnable. And so everything about this Auburn-Arkansas game is interesting. Every facet of it is interesting. And that's sort of how things work when you get into coaching carousel season, where one play here or there might decide when somebody pulls the trigger and when they don't. Because with Auburn, I think you could wait out the season on Hugh Freeze. I don't think that really changes much. But it may be like if they go in there and Arkansas wins convincingly, then that's maybe enough to push them over the edge. Or maybe Auburn goes in there and finally puts everything together and they win a game, and maybe that answers the question about Petrino for Arkansas. Maybe they get their answer. But I think it's going to answer some questions this week, and I cannot wait to watch.